It is Jose Reyes bobblehead day. The only problem with that bobblehead is it doesn't move around as much as Jose Reyes.
It's close.
He is a live wire for sure. The rubber match of this 3-game series. Cardinals got a 5-0 shutout from their young starter Shelby Miller yesterday. Let's take a look at the Cardinal lineup for Mike Matheny. Top of the order, the leadoff man, third baseman Matt Carpenter. Over his last 20 games, he's at .383 with 9 doubles. He is a double-hitting machine, and he is the top of the order. Alan Craig. He's had a good stretch here over his last 5 games, 6 for 23, a double and 3 RBIs, and that's the Cardinal lineup as they will take on Drew Hutchison. First time they have faced Drew Hutchison.
Drew making his 13th start of the season, first career start versus the Cardinals, coming off one of his better starts of the season, just 3 hits over 7 scoreless innings against the Tigers. He picked up a no decision in that game. He has last loss, you have to go all the way back to May the 11th. The last time Drew Hutchison lost a start for the Blue Jays.
We have just been informed that Matt Holliday has been scratched from this lineup today. He was the DH. It'll be Yadier Molina, who was not in the original lineup. He will be the DH, batting third for the Cardinals. Hutchison is set. Eric Kratz behind the plate. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is in there, and we are underway. Carpenter batting .297 for the season. He is 0 for 7 in this series. He's walked 3 times. Hutchison quickly ahead, 0-2.
And just like we talked about in the opening of the show, Drew Hutchison's going to use his fastball. He's going to try and throw to certain spots in the strike zone. He's got outstanding command with it. We saw a little bit of a rise in that velocity also in his last start against the Tigers.
He had 7 days in between starts, and he got a little bit of a boost in his velocity, and I was pleased to see that he didn't try to light up the radar gun. He made quality pitches, and it was a natural rise in that velocity. Popped out of play.
That was the biggest difference, I think, in Drew's start against the Tigers as opposed to a start against Tampa Bay. He made quality pitches. Did not walk the batter, had 7 strikeouts, but he threw the ball where he wanted to. Against Tampa Bay, couldn't do that. 4 walks in 5 innings.
Another 1-2 pitch. Hit hard, but right to the second baseman, Steve Callison. 1 down. We'll take a look at Drew Hutchison and the red flag that the Blue Jays noticed in his velocity, and that prompted them to give him some extra rest.
Remember, he's coming off Tommy John surgery. Now, if you talk to him, he says that's not a big problem for me, but the numbers don't lie. Those are his last 4 starts, 94, 92, now to 91.5 versus Tampa Bay, and then back up to 93. And you say, well, that's not that big of a difference, 2 miles an hour. It is a difference. You make that type of adjustment as a hitter as that miles per hour goes down.
Oscar Taveras, the right fielder. He hit in the 6th spot in yesterday's game. Taveras playing in his 9th major league game. He was called up on May 31st. One of the best young prospects in all of baseball.
The #1 prospect at the St. Louis Cardinals organization. They've been waiting for him for a couple of years. He was also voted the prospect with the best tools in the Cardinal organization.
Pretty good pitch, just missed the inside corner. 2-2. Hutchison's got a little extra zip, and not talking about pure velocity, but that skip in his fastball upstairs is effective.
Life to the fastball. And his delivery towards the plate, there's something about it. He's very quick arm. You've got quick twitch muscles in that arm, and that ball gets on you fast.
There's a liner to left field. Melky Cabrera on the run, makes the catch. Now, we have talked about this defense all season long. The outfield and the infield, they have been very supportive of their pitching staff.
When you get a ball like this off the bat of Tavares, you got to make up your mind as an outfielder very quickly. Do I have a shot? Is this ball going to carry to me? Melky very quickly made that decision, came in and made a nice sliding catch.
2 down in the first. Yadier Molina was not in the lineup, as Mike Matheny had opted to give him yesterday, today, and tomorrow off. Tomorrow's a scheduled off day for the Cardinals. Goes after that first pitch. Matt Holliday was originally in the lineup as the DH. Holliday got hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning of the game on Friday night. Marcus Stroman hit him hard, and we're not sure why he came out of the game. They're just being informed now that it was a back problem as opposed to being hit by that pitch. Yadier Molina batting .293 for the season. Got 5 homers and 23 RBIs. Inside. Drew Hutchison making his 5th start at home here at Rogers Center. He's got very interesting splits that we're going to try to break down through the course of this afternoon. Molina lays off that high fastball. 3-1.
The thing I love about Drew Hutchison, he's not afraid to use that fastball. Working with Eric Kratz today, who likes to be very aggressive. Could be a good combination for the Blue Jays.
Alan Craig, the cleanup hitter, riding a mini 5-game hit streak. He'll be next. Molina fights off that inside pitch. Another good crowd on hand here at Rogers Center. It's Jose Reyes bobblehead day. For the first 2 games of this series, Blue Jays have had 76,000 in attendance, including 42, almost 43 yesterday afternoon. Ball 4, 2-out walk. When we talk about the defense, let's take a look at the defensive alignment. It is Cabrera, Kevin Pillar in center today, and Jose Bautista in right. Brett Laurie and Jose Reyes on the left side. Steve Thomas and Edwin Encarnacion back at first base. And Eric Kratz gets the start today for Drew Hutchison.
That's a good sign with Double E over there at first base. Last played on Wednesday. Came out of that game Wednesday night in Detroit. And with the left-hander on the mound, that allow the Blue Jays to use a right-handed hitting DH this afternoon.
Alan Craig takes the first pitch strike. Craig had a double in 4 at-bats yesterday. He scored the 2nd run for the Cardinals. That came in the top of the 8th inning. They scored 4 runs on 3 hits. Sent 10 men to the plate in that 8th inning.
Craig becomes a much dangerous hitter the deeper the count goes. Gets a little bit more information, gets a little bit better idea of what the guy's trying to do to him. But on a 1-1 count, which we're at right now, he's over 400 this year. Got to make a quality pitch here.
Molina's not a threat to run. He just broke up the momentum a bit with that throw to first base. It's a ball and a strike to Alan Craig. Boy, he is really looking for pitches out over the plate.
You can see it. You can see it in the way that he's going about his business. He's always been a very good RBI man. He's driven in 90 runs each of the last 2 seasons. And when you've got RBI guys like that without the great power numbers, the 30, 35 home runs, you know he can hit to all field.
Hits this ball into center. Kevin Pillar is there. Good inning for Drew Hutchison. Gives up a 2-out walk and nothing more. Cardinals strand 1. We'll go to the bottom of the first. will be the third hitter in this lineup. Let's take a look at the rest of the order for John Gibbons. Blue Jays have gone 12-7 this season against left-handed starters. It is Reyes, Cabrera, and then Jose Bautista. Over his last 11 games, he's been on fire, a .425 average, 3 homers and 9 RBIs. And then all the way down in the bottom of the order, the number 9 spot, center fielder Kevin Pillar, who over his last 14 games, he has 6 hits in 18 at-bats. He has a couple of doubles and an RBI. That RBI came on a big sacrifice fly in the series against the Tigers.
That's the lineup I think Garcia will face. This is his 5th start of the season after returning from the disabled list with a left shoulder problem. That was in the middle of May. 3rd career start versus the Blue Jays. 2nd career start here at Rogers Center. Fastball, slider, curve, change, cutter. He's got to be down to be good. Once that ball starts raising up, he has his problems. He's given up 5 home runs already this season.
Came off the disabled list on the 17th of May, coming back from shoulder surgery. Reyes is set. There's a strike right at the bottom of the zone. That's going to be important. Watch the elevation of his pitches. It is Jose Reyes bobblehead day, and the bobblehead's keeping an eye on Jose. Ground ball to short. Johnny Peralta gobbles it up. 1 down. Take a look at the defense behind Jaime Garcia. In the outfield, it's John Jay, who normally is center fielder. He's in the left. Peter Borges is in center, and Oscar Taveras, the rookie, is in right. Carpenter and Peralta on the left side. The veteran Mark Ellis at second base. Alan Craig, who also plays in right field, he is at first base. Tony Cruz has caught all 3 games of this series against the Blue Jays.
Cardinals have 3 former center fielders in the outfield. There's one of them right there. He can go get them. Peter Borges made 3 outstanding catches yesterday against the Blue Jays.
Melky Cabrera, a switch hitter like Reyes, batting right-handed against Jaime Garcia. So as Bunton takes it down, 2-0.
Garcia, his fastball's got some movement on it. He'll cut it and sink it. Got a little bit of a slider. Slider might be his best pitch.
3-0. Bautista is on deck. We mentioned the Blue Jays this season have a 12-7 record against left-handed starters. A year ago, they were 19-24. 4-pitch walk. That's the first walk that Garcia has issued this season. This is just his 5th start, but he has thrown strikes. Bautista homered against Garcia in 2010 right here at Rogers Center, the last time Garcia pitched in this building. His last 11 games, Jose has hit .425.
The whole key, I think, for Jose Bautista, after talking with Kevin Seitzer today, is keeping that front shoulder in. Jose at times will let that start leaking out just a little bit, trying to get pull happy when he is using the whole field and keeping that front shoulder in and using his hands. That's when you start seeing the ball really jumping off his bat.
Bautista behind 0-2. He is 7th in the American League in hitting, batting .313. Melky Cabrera, who walked ahead of Bautista, is tied for 10th in the American League with a .308 average. Robinson Cano leads the American League, batting .332. Melky Cabrera's former teammate with the Yankees. Another 0-2 pitch to Bautista. Blue Jays were shut out yesterday, just the 2nd time this season they have been shut out. Shelby Miller was terrific. Shut out the Blue Jays on just 3 hits. It's the 11th shutout for the Cardinals this season already. It's a high fly ball into right. Oscar Taveras over. He's under it and makes the catch. 2 down. Jaime Garcia has had injury problems throughout his career, and he's had to make some adjustments because of those injuries.
Yeah, he'll use the fastball, and he'll use it to set up, I think, his secondary pitches. You see the slider, 22% of the time he's going to use that. I'd say it's probably his best pitch because they're only hitting $184 against that. Changeup, curveball, and a cutter. He's got to work down. He's got to be able to move that ball down in the strike. So once it starts coming up and it's a little bit higher, that's where he starts getting hit. I mentioned the 5 home runs in his 4 starts already. But he's like Drew Hutchison in the fact that there's something in his delivery and the way he throws the ball to home plate. The radar gun registers 91 or 92, but the hitters see 94, 95.
Edwin Encarnacion. Bounced into dirt. Cruz blocks it effectively. Jaime Garcia gave up 2 home runs on May 18th against the Braves. Freddie Freeman and Justin Upton took him deep in that game. Then he had another 2-homer game against the Giants. Mike Morris and Pablo Sandoval both took him deep. And then in his last start, Alex Gordon hit a home run in the first inning against him.
What's interesting about those home runs you were just talking about, he's only given up 8 home runs in his career to left-handed batters. I heard Alex Gordon's name in there and Freddie Freeman.
Ball on a strike, 2 outs. We're at the bottom of the first. Goes all the way back to the screen. That looked like a changeup that Encarnacion cut on and missed. And Melky Cabrera will end up at second on the wild pitch. Cruz didn't get down and block that pitch at all.
Breaking ball.
They both swung and missed.
Yeah. Went after that one a little funny, didn't he?
There'll be a wild pitch. Oh, it's a pass ball charged to the catcher. Ball didn't bounce, and Tony Cruz charged with the second pass ball of the season.
Well, you said it. They swung and missed.
Yeah.
Didn't get any leather on it.
Edwin Encarnacion hasn't had an RBI in his last 4 games. He's got a runner in scoring position now with 2 outs. Brett Flory is on deck. Moved Flory up into this 5th spot to protect Encarnacion against the lefty pitcher Garcia. Edwin is tied for 4th in the American League with 50 RBIs. Nelson Cruz of the Orioles leads the pack with 55. Miguel Cabrera has 51. Donaldson of the A's and Encarnacion have 50. Another ball in the dirt.
Wouldn't be looking for a fastball. Not in this situation after that pass ball, first base open. You mentioned the great RBIs that Edwin has put up so far this year. Hasn't hit very well with runners in scoring position, you see.
Hasn't had much to hit. Had a pretty good pitch to hit right there. Out over the middle of the plate. It was a changeup.
Garcia will turn over his changeup. It looked like almost a screwball. It really gets on top of that ball. It's just 83 miles an hour, but it had that down and away effect to Encarnacion.
Bounced foul outside of third. Full count, 2 outs. Blue Jays had just 3 hits in yesterday's game. It was just the 11th time they had been held at 2 runs or less. They have a 2-9 record in those 11 games. Another foul bounced off home plate.
They just didn't have many opportunities yesterday. Shelby Miller was really good. And then the balls that they hit hard, they hit them to the wrong part of the ballpark.
Blue Jays had just 3 hits. They left only 4 runners on base. Miller walked 1 batter. That was it. He had a perfect game until 1 out in the 5th when they walked Adam Lind. This is the rubber match of this 3-game series.
3 deep drives to center field got knocked down yesterday and stayed in the ballpark.
He didn't want anything to do with Encarnacion. He bounced 3 balls during the at-bat. Brett Lawrie batting 5th had a little fun with Jose Reyes before the ball game. It is Jose Reyes bobblehead day, and Lawrie and Reyes were out loosening up, and he goes, "This is what you look like today."
Yeah.
These guys are all having fun, and Reyes is really the pulse of this team. He's the guy that keeps everybody loose, keeps everybody going.
A lot of energy, and loves to play the game of baseball.
2 outs. Tony Cruz having a little bit of a problem with this pitcher early in this ball game. He boxed up the one that went back to the screen. He was charged with a pass ball, and that strike right there he couldn't handle.
Does that mean the ball is moving a lot today from Garcia?
More than likely. At least you hope that's the case. Oh, 0-2. Good numbers for Brett Lawrie batting with runners in scoring position. He has been consistent. His focus is rock solid when he's got a chance to drive in a run. This time he strikes out. The Blue Jays will strand a pair. We've played an inning at Rogers Center. It's a scoreless game.
On Sportsnet, brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, and by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Good crowd on hand here at Rogers Center. Jose Reyes bobblehead day. The Jays gave away 20,000 Jose Reyes bobbleheads today. And it's a good crowd on hand. Johnny Peralta goes after the first pitch and lines out to the left fielder, Melky Cabrera.
I think the Cardinal batters are going to know that Hutch is going to be aggressive with them. You're going to see a lot of first pitch strikes and a lot of first pitch swings, I think, by the St. Louis batters.
We mentioned the odd splits for Drew Hutchison, home and a road, and you see his home numbers. He's 1-2 with a 7.71 ERA here at Rogers Center. Very unusual splits when you look at the quality of his talent. You break it down, when you look at his numbers on the road, they're quite impressive. He has been much more consistent pitching away from Rogers Center.
It's only his 5th start here at home this year. He's made 8 starts on the road. His ERA is 2, and at home it's over 7.
There's a base hit into the right. John Jay with a 1-out single. Well, Drew Hutchison loves to use that fastball, and when he's throwing that fastball, that's when he's most effective.
66% of the time he's going to use that fastball, and then 21% of the time he's going to use that slider. And he has a good slider and a developing changeup. Not afraid to use that changeup to the right-handers down and in. I love the fact that he loves to use his fastball. I mean, he doesn't just throw it in one spot every single time. He can go in and out, up and down with it.
Now, it's always a good pitch. The major league average for fastball usage is 62.6, so he's above the major league average with fastballs. Mark Ellis, the second baseman. There are threats of showers in the area, as it looks like Rogers Center roof is beginning to close. It was closed throughout most of batting practice, but then they pushed it back, and now they're going to close it once again. Ball and a strike. How do you think hitters prefer to hit in this ballpark, open or closed?
Boy, that's a good question. Depends on the way the wind's blowing, really, if you ask me. If it's a bright sunny day, I'm going to speak from experience. Bright sunny day, I'd rather have it open because you can see the ball better. If the wind is blowing and it knocks the ball down like I thought it did yesterday in yesterday's game, I'd rather have it closed. Today it seems like the ball wasn't really carrying in batting practice.
There goes the runner. The hit and run is on, and it's a base hit to right field. John Jay will go to third. Bautista with a good strong throw, and it was low enough that Reyes could cut it off to keep Mark Ellis at first, keep the double play in order.
Cardinals have been really struggling to score some runs, so Mike Matheny does the right thing. He starts the runner at first base. He knows he's going to get a lot of fastballs from Drew Hutchison. Mark Ellis has been doing this a long time in his career. Inside out swing, protect that runner, just get the ball on the ground, and they play first and third on that single to right field.
Cardinals have scored 6 runs in this game. They have stranded 20 base runners. In the first 7 games of June, they've left 57 runners on base, only 1 fewer than the New York Mets, most in baseball. Bounced foul. Borges goes after the first pitch.
They had a big 8th inning yesterday against the Blue Jays. 4 runs against the Jays bullpen. Until that time, the Cardinals had only scored 2 runs in 21 innings. That's been the mystery for this team this year. When you talk to some of the personnel from the Cardinals, just haven't been able to hit with runners in scoring position.
Aaron Loop had his consecutive scoreless innings streak snapped yesterday in that 8th inning. Borges shows bunt. The safety squeeze was on, and he takes the ball. Blue Jays have had some rough 8th innings this year. They walked 4 in that 8th yesterday afternoon. Ball and a strike, 1 out. Borges is a tough man to double up. He can really run.
Yeah, it's going to take one of those 1 or 2 hoppers to one of the middle infielders to get him. So as an infielder, you got to be thinking, if he chops at a ball or hits a slow ground ball and you're a corner infielder, you might want to come home.
Mark Ellis is a high percentage base stealer. He's 3 for 3. Not a real burner, but he picks his spots very well. Downstairs. John Jay broke down the third base line just at the perfect time. I thought it crept into the vision of Drew Hutchison. Seemed like he hesitated a little bit before he unloaded. But he timed his break perfectly. He wasn't running anywhere. And I think he got into the peripheral vision of Drew Hutchison.
And as a pitcher, you start yanking balls out of the strike zone when you do that.
Now it's 3-1.
This is what you were talking about right here. It's a bluff, like he's going to take off right there. And then Hutchison goes home with that. You can see that out of the corner of your eye.
Little movement there, and they had the safety squeeze on earlier in this at bat. 3-1 pitch. Ellis not running. Ball is hit into the center field. John Jay back to tag at third base. Kevin Pillar, the center fielder, makes a strong throw, and they keep the runner Ellis at first. The Cardinals score first on the Peter Borges sac fly. So Jay picks up the first run of the game. He comes in from third. Borges picks up his 10th RBI with the sac fly to center. Hit and run proved to be effective.
Yeah, do the little things. Productive at bat right there. Productive out by Borges as he scores the run. He got himself into a good hitter's count. That was the key to that whole at bat by Borges.
Tony Cruz had a 2-run double in that 4-run 8th inning for the Cardinals yesterday. He has caught all 3 games of this series. He's back behind the plate for just the 10th time this season. Yadier Molina has been given a little bit of a break from behind the plate.
The quote from the manager: Yadier Molina is fried back there. He's such an intense ball player. And they really rode him last year right to the World Series.
He was a late addition to the lineup when Matt Holliday, the DH, was scratched with lower back tightness, and Molina was inserted into the DH spot. Hutchison misses again. There's something about starting here at home that has bothered Hutchison. His pitches per innings pitched in this ballpark, 19.2. Then you look at his starts on the road, 14.9. For some reason, he is tentative. Maybe he's not comfortable on the mound, or maybe something with the baseballs.
Yeah,
but
I know Mark Burley was complaining yesterday after the game that he wasn't getting a good grip on the baseball, that the ball, you know, he had 5 walks yesterday, that they weren't rubbed up to the way he liked it. The ball slipping out of his hand. He didn't have the command. Don't know if that's it for sure. Usually guys have a little bit more familiar surrounding here at home, that they feel a little bit more comfortable. Not so this year so far for Drew.
It's interesting when you look at Burley's numbers and break them down as well. He's 5-2 here at Rogers Center. His ERA is over a run higher at home than it is on the road. And the opponents are hitting .282 here compared to .217 on the road.
Here at home.
There's a pop down the right side. Long run for Bautista. This ball's going to drop in foul territory. So Tony Cruz will have another swing here. Ball wouldn't hit high enough, didn't stay in the air long enough for anybody to make a play. Tony Cruz, the number 9 hitter. We mentioned Cruz is filling in for Yadier Molina. He's the backup catcher. He's 27 years old. He was a Cardinals draft pick in 2007. Here's the 2-2 pitch. There goes Ellis. The pitch is down and away, and the throw is not in time. Mark Ellis gets himself into scoring position. Eric Kratz throwing from his knees. His throw was late.
You know, you said it. He picks his spots and he has an idea. Watch him get a little bit of a running lead over there at first base. Hutch concentrating on that batter so much. Ellis picked up on that and picked up his 4th stolen base.
4 for 4 for Ellis. He's in scoring position. Cardinals have scored a run here in their half of the second. There's a drive to left field. Melky Cabrera's not going to get it. This ball is off the wall. Ellis jogs in, and Tony Cruz jogs into second with an RBI double.
We were talking in the opening about quality of pitches and why Drew Hutchison pitched so well against the Detroit Tigers. The quality of pitches. This was not a quality pitch. This is a hanging breaking ball. Just got underneath that slider just a little bit too much. Hung over the middle of the plate and sped up the bat of Cruz. Cruz has done a nice job this series for the Cardinals.
That's his 7th RBI of the season, his 3rd in the last 2 games. 2 outs now, back to the top of the order. Matt Carpenter. He rarely swings at first pitches, but he's got a runner in scoring position. He went after that first pitch. It might have been a ball.
And it's another fastball that they're keying on Hutchison's usage of the fastball.
You can use the fastball, and he's been very good at that. And you mentioned the quality of pitches and locating it. When he does that, it's not a concern.
No, not at all. Put it in the right spot. I mean, he's right around the strike zone. He's just off. You can see those first 2 pitches to Carpenter.
There's a deep fly ball to center. Kevin Pillar back at the track, at the wall. This ball is gone. Matt Carpenter with a 2-run home run, his 2nd home run of the season, and the Cardinals have scored 4 here in the top half of the second.
Not really known as a home run hitter. Just a 2nd home run for Carpenter this season, but it's a pitch that's up. Watch where they want this ball. They want it down, and he misses badly one more time, and he knows. Both Eric Kratz and Drew Hutchison knew that that ball was not coming back.
Oscar Taveras goes after the first pitch for Carpenter, his 2nd home run. RBIs number 22 and 23. And that picture tells you all you need to know. Pete Walker very concerned about the start for Hutchison so far. Popped out of play off the bat of Oscar Taveras. 1-2. 4 runs on 4 hits so far in this inning for St. Louis. Full count.
Well, this is where a young player really has to lean on his pitching coach right here to help him through there. He's doing something right now that's throwing off his mechanics, and everything has been up.
Off the end of the bat. Collison boots it, and now Taveras reaches. Steve Tallison sat back and waited for that extra hop, and when it hopped, it kicked up on him.
And wouldn't you know it, that last hop is always that one that's that tricky hop. As an infielder, you want to get the short hop or the big hop, not the in-between hop. And by staying back on this ball, he gets that in-between hop, and it comes up on him. Has the presence of mind to get it as quickly as possible and try and get Taveras, but I don't think he got him. He's safe over there at first base.
John Gibbons went out momentarily, but he is returning to the dugout now. It's an error on Tallison, his first error of the season. Taveras runs well, and he legged it out. So Yadi Molina, the DH, will be the 8th Cardinal to bat this inning. Well, the Cardinals well aware that Hutchinson's going to be aggressive. They're all looking for that good first pitch. Hutchinson has thrown 51 pitches now, and we're in the 2nd inning. Again, the emphasis on his home road splits. Coming into this game, he was averaging over 19 pitches per inning at home compared to 14.9 on the road. Just not as aggressive in this ballpark.
Or the quality of pitches. See Todd Redmond, a long reliever, now up again. Looks like he's trying to use a slider a little bit more now.
1-2, 2 outs. Way outside. That'll even the count at 2-2. The Cardinals have lost 9 of their last 13. They're just 2-5 in the month of June. They are a game over 500 at 32-31. There goes the runner. Pop up down the right side. Bautista with a long run. He's not going to get there. That's a fair ball. Taveras is being stopped at third base. Molina drops one just inside the foul line down the right field line. So 5th hit of the inning. Everything is breaking right for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it certainly is. Molina been hitting the ball hard, but right at people, and they all even out at the end of the season. Jam sandwich on that one, and somehow it stays fair down the right field line. Off of a right-handed batter, that ball twists and turns, but you can see it's just fair. And Bautista gets over there quickly and stops the runner from scoring.
Bautista saw Taveras break on the pitch, so he was aware there was a chance for him to score. He got the ball back in quickly. Alan Craig will be the 9th man to bat for St. Louis in this inning.
And this season, you talk about Craig going the other way. He has twice as many hits the other way to right field as he does to left field and center field. He is looking to shoot a ball to right field.
Do you agree with Tolleson at second, his positioning?
I think he might want to take a few steps to his left.
There's a ball driven to right, but Bautista has a bead on it. Cardinals have a big inning. They send 9 men to the plate, score 4 runs on 5 hits, and a 2-run home run by Matt Carpenter. North America participated in the MLB pitch hit and run contest. Prior to today's game, all the local winners were presented their awards. Josh Tolley did the presenting, and the Blue Jays would like to congratulate all of those who have participated, and especially those winners there. They're the regional winners of the MLB pitch, hit, and run contests. Steve Tollefson will lead things on. Jaime Garcia has been staked to a 4-0 lead. Tollefson's been a nice addition to this roster. He started out the season in AAA Buffalo, but he has made a contribution, batting .283 with 6 RBIs. Interesting, he has 4 doubles, 3 triples, and 2 home runs. He's hit with a little pop.
Yeah, and he has a little bit of pop. Veteran player, he knows his role on the team right now. Play against the left-handers.
All right, gets a leadoff single. That's a good way to start it.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Leadoff single for Steve Tollefson. That'll bring Gianna Navarro to the plate. He is the DH this afternoon. First pitch is outside. Navarro's hit .273 against lefty pitching, like Garcia. A .262 against right. He's pretty well balanced from either side of the plate.
Well, he puts up good at bats at the plate. That's why John Gibbons likes to use him as the DH. Certain times, give him a break behind the plate.
Ground ball. That's a fair ball. Carpenter goes to first, and Craig tags Navarro out. Matt Carpenter recognized who the hitter was running from home. He knew he didn't have a shot at second after he made the play on the tough bouncing ball. Went across the diamond to get Navarro.
Just get it over there as quickly as possible and let Alan Craig, the first baseman, do the rest. He saves extra bases right here with this fine play. And then you just want to get it over there, bounce it over there, let the first baseman catch it. If he has to come off the bag, quick tag right into the runner to record the out over at first base. Nice play.
Carpenter unloaded in a hurry. Alan Craig is their regular right fielder. Matt Adams is on the DL. He's the first baseman. He did a nice job coming off the bag and making the tag. Eric Kratz in the 8th spot this afternoon. Blue Jays need to just chip away.
When they have runners in scoring position, they're going to have to cash them in this afternoon. They're going to have to make Garcia pay in these situations. Can't leave him out there like they have the last couple nights.
Bouncing ball to short, and Tollefson broke the third. He's going to be tagged out. Base running mistake by Steve Tollefson. Trying to get a jump, and he ran right into the out. That removes a base runner from scoring position.
That one hurts you. As a runner at second base, any ball, ground ball hit to your right, you got to freeze, especially if you're down by 4 runs. You got to freeze, make the ball go through, and just got out there a little bit too quickly and a little bit too far into no man's land, and then was an easy out.
So now Kevin Pillar, the number 9 hitter, will bat with 2 outs. He takes a strike. Pillar over his last 14 games has hit .333. Bounced into there. All throughout the 3 games of this series, we have noticed the Cardinals' defensive alignment. They rarely shift on anybody. They played pretty much straight away, which is certainly against the grain of what we've seen this season.
I think you have to get together with your pitchers and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and if everybody's on the same page, then go ahead and do it. Talk to other organizations, and I've heard pitchers talk about that they don't feel comfortable pitching against the shift. Too many holes.
Yeah, and Mike Matheny is a catcher and a very good one at that as a former player. He's in his 3rd season as the Cardinal manager. So he feels like, you know what, we're going to put up the best defense and not overshift on anybody. Pilar strikes out. Promising inning, ends up with a stranded base runner. We'll go to the 3rd. The Cardinals have an early 4-0 lead. Experience and baseball IQ. Blue Jays baseball all season long, only on Sportsnet 590, The Fan. Jerry and Joe bring you all the action. Mike Wilner's in the booth with them, along with Tom Young, their great producer, carrying a game on the radio. Johnny Peralta lined out to the left fielder. That was the start of the 2nd inning, and that led to a 4-run inning for St. Louis. This ball is drilled to left field, and it's not going to stay in the ballpark. Johnny Peralta with his 10th home run of the season. Just like that, it's 5-0 Cardinals.
Looked like another breaking ball that hung out over the plate. Peralta hit 6 home runs in April after signing that big contract with the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a St. Louis team record for shortstops in the month of April, 6. This is just his 4th since then. Hanging breaking ball. He's always had power for a shortstop. Good breaking ball hitter, and that ball on a line to left field got that one up in the air.
There's a liner down the left side.
First time up, he toward the line drive to left field that was caught by Melky. This time he was able to get it up in the air, airborne, into the stands for home run number 10.
Johnny Peralta, that's his 5th career home run here at Rogers Center, and John Jay didn't mean to, but he went around. Fouls it out of play. It's 0-2. Drew Hutchison, in his last start against the Tigers, was pitching on 7 days rest. He had a couple extra days rest, and it took him about 4 innings to really find his rhythm and timing. And the Cardinals have jumped on him here early. Reyes throws out Jay. That's the first out of the 3rd.
Early in that game, missing his spots. Couldn't find that release point. He doesn't say that 7-day layoff had anything to do with him pitching a gem against the Tigers. He just said he made better quality pitches, which he did. Put in a good spot so far this afternoon. His breaking ball's not been where he wanted to put it.
Mark Ellis had a hit and run single in the second inning. And then he picked up a stolen base, came around to score on the 2-run double off the bat of Tony Cruz. There's a fly ball to right. Bautista has room. He gets there, and Ellis is retired. 2 down. Speaking of Jose Bautista, in Hutchison's last start in Detroit, Bautista came in from right field early in the ball game and said, "Come on, Hutch, you got through that tough inning. Let's go. We've got confidence in you." And Hutchison went on from there and finished up retiring 11 straight in that start.
Same thing today. After that first inning, Jose is going to have something to talk, a little motivational talk with his starting pitcher.
You know, that's how you lead. You know, Hutchison's going through a rough start here, and Bautista's teammate, and he goes up and says, "Hey, we believe in you. Let's go. Don't try to be perfect. Just keep us in this ball game."
And you know what, Buck? Hutch is the kind of guy that's going to take that the right way. I mean, he's a competitor, and he loves to pitch, and he's tough out there. And when one of his teammates gets on him like that and pushes him, he's the kind of guy who will respond.
I think everybody on the team understands what Drew Hutchison's capable of, but at the same time, you got to remember he's 23 years old. He's going to have ups and downs. I mean, he was perfect against the Rangers down in Texas, and he looked like a 10-year vet. And then he has peaks and valleys, as all pitchers do. Strikes out Peter Borges to end the inning. Johnny Peralta, a solo home run. Peralta's 10th of the season. 5-0 St. Louis. A special tribute to the Canadian Forces today. They salute Sergeant Neil Weatherby. Sergeant Weatherby has served on multiple deployments, including Afghanistan, Haiti, and Germany. He's been instrumental in sending millions of pounds of humanitarian relief throughout the globe. The Blue Jays are proud to salute all the brave men and women of the Canadian Forces who serve our country every day. Congratulations, Sergeant Weatherby.
Who serve our country.
Mark Burley does a great job of presenting that personalized jersey to each member of the Canadian Forces on every Sunday home game.
Mark Burley does everything right now. He catches the first pitch. He gives out the jerseys on the Sundays to the Sunday salute. We also got a shot of him managing the other day when Gibby got thrown out.
Jaime Garcia, 1-1 to Reyes. That's just outside the bag at first. Ceremony of first pitch today. Carlos Delgado, the great slugger for the Blue Jays, threw out the first pitch, and he threw it out to Jose Reyes. Reyes was a young player coming up with the Mets when Carlos was playing in New York, and Jose Reyes said that Carlos Delgado had a dramatic impact in his career early on. Delgado played 12 seasons with the Blue Jays and hit 336 home runs for the Jays. There's a little broken bat blooper, and then Johnny Peralta gets back to make the catch. Reyes is retired.
You know, it's so awesome in baseball when you see young players come up and veterans take them under their wing and they just take off as players. I saw that with Tom Gordon when he was with the Kansas City Royals. Bo Jackson took him under his wing, and Flash had a great career.
Bo Jackson would grab you by the neck and say, "Come with me, kid."
Went out and bought him suits.
Yeah.
The first time he came up there, he outfitted him in suits. He didn't have any clothes to wear on the big league charters.
You know, that was interesting. And you talk about Tom Gordon, and now he has a second son that was drafted. D. Gordon, of course, is a great speedster with the LA Dodgers, and second son Nick Gordon was just drafted by the Minnesota Twins. But in Tom Gordon reflecting on his son being drafted in the first round, he said, when I was drafted, a policeman knocked on my door because we didn't have a phone. How about that?
Yeah.
Grew up in Central Florida, in Avon Park, Florida, and they didn't have a phone. He said we couldn't afford a phone, so when the police officer knocked on our door and said, "Tom, you've been drafted," he said, "I thought I was going to the Army."
He was with his father, and his father said, "Now what have you done?" He goes, "Dad, I swear I haven't done anything." To make a phone call, you had to go down to the local gas station to go make a phone call.
But how about that? And he came from humble means, and Bo Jackson was able to take him under his wing, much like Delgado and Reyes. Melky Cabrera with a 2-2 count. Bouncing ball. Nice scoop by Matt Carpenter. 2 down. So that'll bring Jose Bautista to the plate. Jose started this game batting .313, and his spray chart reflects how he's able to hit for that 300 average.
Well, if you're going to shift on him, he's going to go to right field. He's got 22 hits already to right field. A lot of them line drives or ground balls through that big gaping hole that they will leave over on that right side. 15 hits to center, 34 to left. Power is what he gets out in front and pulls that ball. You got to be extra careful early in the count against Bautista. Taking all the way there. Early in the count, this guy's a .391 hitter on the first pitch. And now he's starting to get his lanes back.
Having a chat with Manny Gonzalez, the home plate umpire. Breaking ball missed down and in. Jaime Garcia facing Bautista. Jose has a home run against Garcia. He is now 2 for 6 against the Cardinal lefty. Bouncing ball, big hop for the shortstop, Johnny Peralta. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays go quietly in their half of the third. Cardinals lead it 5-0 as we head to the fourth. Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. Inductees include Dave Van Horn, Jim Ridley, Murray Cook, and Tim Wallach. Induction ceremonies will be held on Saturday, June 21st in St. Mary's, Ontario. There'll also be autograph appearances by Devon White, George Bell, and Dwayne Ward. Visit Blue Jays Hall of Fame. Visit baseballhalloffame.ca for more information. June 21st, the 2014 induction ceremonies. Drew Hutchison is out of the game. He leaves after just 3 innings. Disappointing start for Hutchison. He trails 5-0. He's allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. Todd Redmond takes over here in the 4th.
Blue Jays have a luxury of having a couple of long men in their bullpen stretched out. Todd Redmond and Chad Jenkins. First one out is Redmond. Did a nice job yesterday. Pitched an inning yesterday against Cardinals. Had a couple of strikeouts. Also had 3 innings and a save the time before that.
Tony Cruz has had a good series. He had a 2-run double in last night's game. Yesterday afternoon, he had that double in that 8th inning, and he had an RBI here in the 2nd. He had a double over the head of Melky Cabrera with 2 outs. Two balls, 2 strikes. Todd Redmond trying to put up some zeros here and give the hitters for the Blue Jays a chance to get back in this game.
Yeah, that's his only job right now. If it's one time through the lineup, whatever it is, throw up zeros for 3 innings.
Cruz strikes out. Drew Hutchison will start it this afternoon, last just 3 innings. Gives up 5 earned runs on 6 hits. Walked a batter, struck out a batter. Gave up 2 home runs. 1 to Matt Carpenter, 1 to Johnny Peralta. So his problems here at Rogers Center continued this year, and it's really kind of head scratching to understand why he has such a tough time in this ballpark.
Just didn't have the command that we've seen in his last start. The fastball just wasn't there. Breaking ball wasn't real sharp.
Say, fly ball lifted down the left side. Long run for Melky Cabrera, and he gets there. Oh, what an effort by Melky Cabrera. Boy, you talk about determination. He was way overshaded in left center, and he broke and never, ever thought about not making this catch.
The determination. They play Matt Carpenter into the gaps because he's got power to all fields, and Melky Cabrera says, you know what, I'm not giving up on this one. I'm going to run right through that baseball, and just picks it right off of the turf and holds on to it when that glove hits that dirt.
He cradled it as he snow coned that baseball. Well, what an effort by Melky Cabrera. Look at the determination on his face.
Long, long way to go. And then right there hits the turf, and the ball stays in.
There's a base hit for Oscar Taveras. His 2nd hit in this series.
Again, with Matt Carpenter, they're playing him in the gaps, and it's a high fly ball down the left field line. Now, some days you just say, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to catch that ball. And you don't go as hard as you can, or maybe you pull up a little bit. He said, I'm going to catch this ball. I'm going to give my pitcher a chance to get an out. He has been playing some great left field this year.
You know what? When you're playing as well as the Blue Jays, nobody wants to let a teammate down. Ground ball off the bat of Yadier Molina. The inning is over. Nice play by Melky Cabrera. Minimizes the impact of that 2-out base hit. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Blue Jays got some work to do. comfort zone. Our guests of TD here at the ballpark on Jose Reyes Bobblehead Day. Well, over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from the Extra Bases Foundation. Good day to be at the ballpark, and it was open air baseball for a while, and you can see those folks in the community clubhouse. Now they recognize they're on television, and that's what you're supposed to do. Get up and wave. Great job. Welcome to the ballpark, and we hope you have a great day here this afternoon. Edwin Encarnacion, then Brett Lawrie and Steve Tollison. Shattered bat, and it's a ground ball to short. Encarnacion is retired. I mean, that bat split right down the middle.
That little cutter, or that little slider that Garcia is throwing, is really making it tough on the right hand. As you can see, right off the end of the bat. Took a little something off that one, but you can see the movement, the angle that that ball is coming into those right-handers. It's tough to square that thing up. Hit it solid.
Brett Lawrie struck out his first time up. Ball and a strike. Looked like an off-speed pitch. Garcia was able to get in there. Jaime Garcia was breezing through the Royals lineup early in that game last time out, and then gave up 5 runs in the 6th. Kansas City would eventually come back and win that game. Cardinals had a 4-0 lead headed into the 5th inning. It was the 5th inning where he gave up those runs. He gave up 5 runs in the 5th. Off the end of the bat, John Jay circles back. He makes the catch. 2 down.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Louis Rivera, the third base coach of the Toronto Blue Jays, had a special day this week when his son Jan was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, and Louis is not one to talk an awful lot, but he is a very proud man of his young son Jan. Congratulations to the Rivera family and to Jan. We've seen Jan last couple of years up here working hard with his father, but it's always a great moment when one of your children gets an opportunity to live out their dream.
You had that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was awesome. A few years ago.
Had your son drafted by the organization that you played for?
Yeah, Casey got to play 4 years in the minor leagues, and hopefully Jan will have a professional career as well. Steve Tollison's father played in the big leagues a long time. Wayne. Curveball is in there for a strike. 1-2.
So Mariano Rivera's son got drafted yesterday by, was it the Yankees?
I'm not sure,
round?
but I hope he's not a pitcher.
I hope he doesn't have that cutter.
Yeah, but if he's a pitcher, that's going to be awfully difficult. He's named Mariano Rivera as well.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla's son, a left-handed pitcher, got drafted.
Charlie Lebrandt's son got drafted. So a lot of ex-players, kids now making it to professional baseball.
3-2, 2 out. Steve Tollison, if he can keep the inning alive, Deanna Navarro would be next. Tollison had a single his first time up. Takes the walk. 2-out walk, and he's been aboard twice.
Garcia upset with himself there. He was ahead of Tollison, had him where he wanted, 1 and 2, and then threw 3 straight out of the strike zone.
Garcia comes back with the first pitch strike. Jaime Garcia had Tommy John surgery in 2008. Last May, he had shoulder surgery to repair the torn labrum and a rotator cuff. So he's been through a lot.
That's why the velocity is down just a little bit. He's got great movement on his pitches.
Bouncing ball. Carpenter will go across the diamond, and he throws Navarro out for a second time. Blue Jays leave a base runner. We'll go to the fifth. The Cardinals have a 5-0 lead. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell. Our game is Tuesday, July 15th at Target Field in Minnesota. Help make Jose Bautista, Jose Reyes, Melky Cabrera, and Edwin Encarnacion starters for the American League. Fans are allowed to vote a maximum of 35 times per email address. Vote early, vote often. Vote at BlueJays.com. Edwin Encarnacion should be the starter for the American League, along with Bautista and Melky Cabrera. So Edwin trails. You need to get online and vote for Edwin Encarnacion. We got a lot of viewers every single game, and if you get online and vote 35 times every time you log on, Edwin Encarnacion should start that All-Star game.
Blue Jays have a lot of options with the way that they have been playing the first couple of months of the season. Don't know. Jose Abreu's done a nice job for Chicago White Sox, first base.
He is just back, and he came off the DL and hit home runs in each of his first 2 games. Johnny Peralta, he homered in his last at bat against Drew Hutchison. For Peralta, that was his 10th home run for the Cardinals. Last year, the Cardinals had 4 home runs all season long from the shortstop position. Cardinal shortstops hit .222 with 4 homers and 54 RBIs. Peralta has 10 home runs and 26 RBIs already.
That was the reason they went out there and gave him that big contract. Something like $52 million for 4 years to sign Peralta away from the Detroit Tigers, to give him a little bit of offense at the shortstop position. He'll get some power. Peralta is the all-time leading home run hitter for a shortstop for the Cleveland Indians.
It's another one hard deep to left field. This ball is off the wall. Melky Cabrera plays it off the wall, then drops it. Johnny Peralta will stop at second base. He has hit the ball sharply all 3 times this afternoon.
And he has pulled 3 balls. Pulled one right to Cabrera in left field. His first time up homer, and now gets himself a fastball. He's always been a very good low ball hitter. That time, that swing, that uppercut that he's had his whole career, gets this one up and bangs it off the wall. Melky thinks he has a shot. It comes up, drops the ball, and allow Peralta to cruise into second.
This is the 37th game Johnny Peralta has played in this ballpark. He now has 10 doubles and 5 home runs. hitting here at Rogers Center. Left fielder John Jay. John Jay grew up in Miami, Florida. He went to the University of Miami. He was a second-round pick by the Cardinals. Boy, the Cardinals have a lot of homegrown players on their roster. It's a fly ball to left field. Melky Cabrera backs up a couple of steps. 2 down.
The film event you've been waiting for has finally arrived. Don't miss DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon 2 in theaters Friday.
Final game of this 3-game series against the Cardinals. It's the rubber match. Cubs split the first 2 games. Blue Jays won on Friday night. The Cardinals won a shutout last night. 3-1 Blue Jays winners on Friday. 5-0 Cardinals yesterday afternoon. The Blue Jays have been in first place for 24 days this season. They never spent a day in first place last year. They're currently 5.5 games ahead in the American League East. Mark Ellis fouls it back. It's a ball and a strike. The Blue Jays have gone undefeated in 8 straight series. Excuse me, if they go undefeated in this series, it'll be the 8th straight undefeated series. They have won 6 and tied 1 coming into this 3-game series. Ground ball, second base Thomason will throw out Mark Ellis, so we'll go to the bottom of the 5th. The Blue Jays trail the Cardinals 5-0. It'll be Eric Kratz, Kevin Pillar, and back to the top of the order, Jose Reyes facing Jaime. The world's best magazines on your tablet. Baseball fans, sign up at nextissue.ca/baseball and get an extended 60-day free trial. It is Jose Reyes Bobblehead Day. Reyes checking out the dogs here at Rogers Center. Looks like he wants one. Helping out the cameraman. Ryan's got him in good hands down there. Popular day whenever they give away bobbleheads, no matter where it is across the baseball landscape. It's always a popular day.
Fans were here early today, weren't they?
They were lined up.
Wow.
Another good crowd on hand. There were over 76,000 in attendance at the first 2 games for this Cardinals series. Ball and a strike to the Blue Jays catcher Eric Kratz. Kratz is making his 12th start behind the plate for the Blue Jays. He's done a nice job, and John Gibbons has done a good job of utilizing 3 catchers, which is a challenge in the American League.
Yeah, how tough is that to carry 3 catchers and then try to find playing time for every one of them and keep them all sharp?
Kratz has done a nice job. Josh Tolley, of course, is the catcher for R.A. Dickey, and he's done a terrific job. Tolley hitting .321.
We'll see him tomorrow with Dickey on the mound.
Minnesota Twins will be at Rogers Center for the first of 3 starting tomorrow night. Pop down the left field line, and that ball's going to be into the seats. Minnesota Twins have a new player. They just signed Kendrys Morales, the free agent DH first baseman. They let Jason Kugel go. He has been designated for assignment to open up a roster spot, and Morales is expected to be here with the Twins tomorrow.
Isn't that ironic? The day after the draft, he was compensation. Kendrys Morales, compensation if somebody signed him until the draft was over.
Ground ball. Matt Carpenter's been busy this afternoon. Kratz is out. With 1 out, let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, Baltimore had a good start yesterday. Kevin Gausman, the rookie, came up and made a nice start. Went 7 innings, had 6 strikeouts as the Orioles beat the A's in that ball game. But a different story this afternoon.
You know, Buck, whenever a left-hander's on the mound like that, third baseman's going to get a sign from the shortstop, and he'll move on a breaking ball. Watch this breaking ball and the third baseman move. He'll get a sign from the shortstop. He'll take a couple of steps towards the line, anticipating that ball. And then, sure enough, ground ball to the third baseman. That's good communication.
Well, and you have to be very aware of the timing of it if you're the third baseman, Matt Carpenter. You don't want to move too soon. You can have an on-deck hitter give you some sort of verbal sign, and when he moves too early, that on-deck hitter can go, "Hey, Kevin, come on."
And then here it comes.
Yeah. I did that with Willie Upshaw for years. When Willie was hitting ahead of me and somebody would move inside suggesting they're going to throw him a fastball, say, "Come on, Willie." And when nothing was happening, I always say, "Hey, come on, Upshaw." So he knew only if I called Willie was it going to be a fastball.
First name.
Craig got to that ball and it popped out of his glove. It was a long run and a tough play for the first baseman, Alan Craig.
It's an outfielder also, Craig, outfield first baseman. So looked like he had a shot at running this one down. It looked like he hit him in the glove and then just pops out, giving Kevin Pillar an extra chance.
So Pillar with an 0-2 count. Yeah, anytime you can see an infielder moving, even in the batter's box, if Kevin Pillar could see a shortstop move, that'll give you an idea they're coming inside. Well, he stays alive as he fights off that tough pitch.
Well, it comes from the middle infielder. They can look in and they can see the catcher's sign and what they're going to be throwing that time. Blue Jays have stacked their lineup with a lot of right-handed hitters, and that cutter, again, it's tough to square it up. You'll get a lot of ground ball outs with it, so you got to give your corner infielders a little heads up.
Blue Jays were shut out for 9 innings yesterday by Shelby Miller. They haven't scored in the first 4 innings here this afternoon, and Pillar strikes out. 2 down. Pillar strikes out for a second time this afternoon. 3rd strikeout for Garcia.
He's got some movement on all of his pitches. The cutter and sliders inside. This time, watch that movement right at the end to get underneath the bat of Kevin Pillar. Got a changeup and a cutter, a slider, and a curveball, and he's throwing it in a good spot today.
Ball on a strike. Garcia is 27 years old. He was born in Reynosa, Mexico, but grew up in Sharyland, Texas, just across the border. Down at the tip of Mexico, almost at the Gulf of Mexico. He's interesting. It's a small area, but Jorge Cantu, also of Mexican descent, grew up in that area of Mission, McAllen, Texas.
Hey, when he first came up, it looked like he was going to be a big winner for the St. Louis Cardinals. He won 13 games his first full season and 13 more games his second season. Then injuries have derailed him just a little bit.
Reyes, what a nice play, but Matt Carpenter throws it away. Reyes thought initially that ball was going to be foul. Then he gave it a second look and hustled out of the batter's box. Matt Carpenter, with a desperation barehanded grab, never got a good grip on the baseball. Watch Reyes.
Ball stayed fair. And if it's an accurate throw, he's got an excellent chance of getting Reyes over at first base, but he throws it high and pulls Craig off the bag.
Never could get a good grip on it. He kind of pushed that ball over to first base. It should be an infield hit for Reyes. Only the second hit for the Blue Jays this afternoon, and that ball gets away from Tony Cruz. Didn't look like that ball was in the dirt either. Another pass ball for Cruz. His second of the afternoon.
Looked like he just whiffed on it. Again, another cutter. Yeah, ball did not hit the dirt. Look where his eyes are. He's looking up at the runner.
So Reyes with just the second Blue Jay hit. Steve Tollefson has the other hit. Blue Jays had just 3 hits yesterday.
Cardinals are a good pitching team. That's why I expect them to make some noise in the National League Central.
They're the reigning champs. They lost to Boston in the World Series. And a lot of guys that are hungry to return to that postseason. Melky Cabrera batting .237 with runners in scoring position. Those numbers are kind of low given the fact that Jose Bautista is hitting behind him. You'd think he'd have a few more good pitches to hit. He chased that off-speed pitch. We mentioned that the Cardinals and the Rangers are tied for the most shutouts in Major League Baseball. Each have thrown 11 shutouts this season, including the one yesterday here against the Jays.
Most ever shutout wins in the team's first 63 games. That's saying something. They've had some great pitching staffs over the year.
Another play for Carpenter, and he drops the ball. Won't have a play. Boy, he has been busy at third. He backed up on that ball and caught it flat-footed, and then he dropped it, and that gives Bautista a chance with 2 aboard.
Yeah, this is the situations where the Jays have got to take advantage of it. Not sure if that ball is going to hit the dirt or if it was going to hit the turf portion of the field here. It hits the dirt, goes into the glove. Looked like he might have been blocked off when he lifted his glove up. Blocked off with a ball.
It's an error on the third baseman Carpenter. It's his 8th error of the season, and that opens the door for Bautista. Blue Jays looking to break through against the Cardinals. They've not scored in 13 innings. Of course, Bautista has the ability to knock it out of the ballpark. Right now, Blue Jays need to cash in at least one of these base runners.
Yeah, take advantage of the mistakes that have been made this inning.
Looks like the same pitch. It's a ball and a strike. Bautista homered against Jaime Garcia here back in June of 2010. One of 2 home runs Bautista hit that afternoon. Bounced in the dirt. Cabrera thought about going to second, but Cruz jumped on it quickly.
Much better job this time by Cruz, the catcher, recognizing this pitch in the dirt and just smothering it. You see how he can get up over the baseball. So when it hits him in that chest protector, it bounces straight down.
All 3 pitches appear to be off the plate inside. Manny Gonzalez has called 2 of them strikes.
I don't see any of them inside that strike zone. Not one of them within that strike zone from pitch tracker, so Bautista should be at first base. Instead, it's 2-2.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners at the corners. Bautista strikes out. The inning is over. Blue Jays leave 2 on base. They've stranded 6. Will go to the 5th. Cardinals have a 5-0 lead. Fans, here comes the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew. Brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products. Had a lot of good teams over the years. Mike Matheny is in his 3rd year as the manager, and he's taken the Cardinals to the postseason in each of the first 2 years. Right now, they're just trying to get things turned around a bit. 1 game over 500. Peter Borges, the center fielder. Todd Redmond working in his 3rd inning. And there's that same pitch that Bautista was called for. That inside pitch looks like it's off the plate, but Manny Gonzalez calls it a strike on Borges. And Peter Borges singles through the left side. When you look at the Cardinals organization, they are terrific in their ability to put up the numbers. Average wins since 2000, the Cardinals have averaged 91 wins, more than the Braves, Giants, Phillies, and Dodgers. National League, they are the leaders, and they have won the World Series. They won it in 2090. Excuse me. Won it in. They played the Braves in 2004 and lost. Tony La Russa won the World Series. Line drive right at Tolleson. The return throw to first is not in time.
World's champs in 2006 and 2011. This is a line drive. Batter does a job of making contact, and the runner does a good job of holding up. The fewest wins they've had in a season since 2000, 78. And four other times in the 80s. The rest of them 90 and above.
They won 105 games in 2004 and lost the World Series to the Boston Red Sox. They were swept that year. 2006, they beat the Tigers. In 2011, they were one swing away from losing to the Texas Rangers and came back and beat the Rangers in the World Series. Peter Borges is off towards second. Here's the throw from Kratz. It is in time. Nice play by Reyes. The ball short hopped the shortstop, but boy, he stayed with it. He stuck his nose in it, and he made the tag on Borges. Mike Matheny, the Cardinals skipper, is out of the dugout, and he's going to second base to talk to Seth Buckminster.
You'll see Eric Kratz at times throw from his knees like that. He'll do it once a game in between innings just to be a little bit quicker. This time it looks like it paid off for him. That short hop is a tough play for an infielder like that. You're not real sure where it's going to bounce, but he does a good job of keeping that glove right there. And it looked like Borges slid right into the glove.
Yeah, to catch the short hop, obviously you have to raise your glove up, and oftentimes it takes you away from the ability to put the tag on the base runner. But that time it looked like the ball bounced right into the glove on Borges' knee. So he is caught for the first time this season. He is now 4 for 5 in steal attempts. Matt Carpenter with an 0-2 count. Carpenter hit a 2-run home run in the second inning. His second homer of the season. There's a fly ball down the left side. Melky Cabrera made a terrific catch on a similar ball back in the fourth off the bat of Matt Carpenter. This time it's into the seats.
It looked like Melky shading him a little bit more towards the line now. There he is in left field. You can see Pilar is shifted over also.
This is popped up on the infield. Third baseman Brett Lawrie moves underneath it. The inning is over. Peter Borges, the leadoff single, thrown out by Eric Kratz. We'll go to the bottom of the sixth. The Blue Jays are down by 5. place Saturday, June 21st and Sunday, June 22nd. The Buffalo Bisons will take on the Rochester Red Wings. There'll be special appearances by Blue Jays alumni Kelly Gruber and Fred McGriff. There'll also be plenty of Blue Jays giveaways, so make sure you check out the Bisons. Log on to bisons.com to order your tickets. Not that far away. Beautiful ballpark. Great opportunity to catch a little minor league baseball action in the great ballpark in Buffalo. Coca-Cola Field for the Blue Jays. Weekend in Buffalo, June 21st and 22nd. 4, 5, and 6 for the Blue Jays here in the 6th inning against Jaime Garcia. Garcia for the season is just 1-0 with a 5.47 ERA. This is his 5th start of the season. He didn't come off the disabled list until May 17th.
He's mixing it up nicely this afternoon. Blue Jays not real sure what they're getting from Garcia. He's got a lot of movement too.
You see a lot of in-between swings, which suggests change of speed, good movement.
You know, they work really hard. The Blue Jays do, and putting together a game plan, especially against a guy they really don't face a whole lot of because of interleague play. And they'll know what he'll throw with runners on base, what his tendencies are, what he'll throw when he's behind in the count, ahead of the count. Kevin Seitzer goes through that. It's called the BAT system, where they can go and look at every single video that you want to look at, and he spends hours on that, prepping his team and getting them ready to face that pitcher.
Hot shot, Carpenter. He's had a lot of play over there at third. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you, Jamie. Sal Perez hit a big 3-run home run in the game yesterday as New York lost that ball game. Yankees are 31-30. They're half a game behind the Baltimore Orioles in 3rd place in the AL East. The Blue Jays will play Minnesota a 3-game series before they go on the road to take on the Orioles and the Yankees before they hit Cincinnati to take on the Reds in interleague play.
Doesn't get any easier, does it?
Every day in the big leagues, Johnny Peralta quickly in time, 2 ground ball outs.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Twelve outs in this ball game have been recorded on the left side of the infield. Garcia has really kept the right-handed hitters off stride, and they've hit a lot of ground balls, make it 13. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, throws out Tollison. 3 ground ball outs here in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th. It only took 8 pitches, and the Blue Jays are down in order. seconds for the biggest at bats and every game-changing play. Blue Jays in 60 seconds after every game, only on sportsnet.ca. So if you miss a play, you miss an at bat, you can check it out on sportsnet.ca. Top of the 7th inning. The right fielder, rookie Oscar Taveras. He's 1 for 3, had a single his last time up. Con Redmond beginning his 4th inning of relief.
He has been very efficient, very tidy through those first 3 innings.
31 pitches, 21 strikes through the first 3 innings.
His longest outing in his career as a reliever is 4 2/3. Did that back in against Los Angeles in May.
Cardinals have off on Monday. They will pick up their road trip with 2 games in Tampa Bay against the Rays. Adam Wainwright will start on Tuesday night against Jake Odorizzi, and then Michael Wacha will take on Eric Bedard in the second and final game of that short series.
Blue Jays have been in tough against Miller yesterday and now Jaime Garcia. Throw Lance Lynn in there too. Their 2 best pitchers they're missing, Wainwright and Wacha.
3-1.
Shows you the kind of depth that the Cardinals have starting pitching and a deep bullpen. It's a good team.
Out of here, Molina, late addition to the lineup. Taveras strikes out. Just the 2nd strikeout for Redmond since entering the game. Yadier Molina was not in the original lineup this afternoon. Matt Holliday was the DH in the 3rd spot. Holliday was scratched with back tightness, and Yadier was inserted. The Blue Jays have gone undefeated in their last 7 series. They have won 6 and tied 1. They're looking to go undefeated for an 8th straight series, and they'll have to have a comeback. Molina lifts a high fly ball to right. 2 down. We mentioned the Twins will be here Monday night. Ricky Nolasco will open up things against R.A. Dickey. Kevin Correa will start game 2 against Jay Happ, and the series finale. It's Wednesday afternoon game. Phil Hughes will start against Marcus Stroman, who has gone 3-0. He is 2-0 as a starter. So it'll be Dickey, Happ, and Stroman in the 3 games against the Minnesota Twins. The Twins are 29-31, 2 games under 500, but they're only 5 games back in the AL Central Division.
And you see their record versus the American League East. They're 10-5.
10-5 record, almost as good as the Tigers, who are 10-4. Alan Craig has been stifled so far today, 0 for 3. He's got a 5-game hit streak at stake.
Got to stay firm against Craig. He's a very good off-speed hitter. Came into this series hitting almost 390 versus changeup, 9th best in the major leagues.
Ball away, and he stays on it pretty well. Fouls it into the second deck. This is a very tough rule, but a very valuable one, that long relief rule. If you're into the ball game, generally it means your starter's been knocked out early. But boy, does it save the bullpen. And Redmond's done a terrific job this afternoon doing that.
Yeah, there's times, and it's happened already to him this year, where he might go 10 days, 2 weeks without getting up and getting a chance to pitch. It's tough to keep sharp like that. You have to be able to come in and throw strikes, make quick work, throw up some zeros.
Well, you have to really challenge yourself just to make sure you stay sharp. And of course, the response to a pitcher's question about not pitching is, would you rather sit in the bullpen in the major leagues or go down and pitch in the minor leagues?
Oh, I can answer that one. The meal money is a lot better up here.
2-2 pitch. Drilled right back over the mound into center field, and Craig will extend his hit streak to 6 straight.
You know, they talk about the Cardinals having problems hitting. I think it's just a matter of time before they get it together. They've got some talented hitters in that lineup. Peralta's having a big day today. Craig is a good hitter. Molina, Holiday.
Cardinals are 7th in the National League in hitting, batting .251 as a team. But they have never been what you would consider a juggernaut offense. They always relied a lot on their pitching.
Pitching and defense has won a lot of games for them, like that one thing we showed there. Since the 2000s, they've averaged 91 wins a season for the last 15 seasons.
Remember their teams in the 80s. They won the World Series in '82. Lost the World Series in '85 to the Kansas City Royals, and then lost again in '87. Whitey Herzog was the skipper of those Cardinal teams. They never had much of an offensive team.
Yeah, they always had that one power hitter. If it was George Hendrick or Jack Clark in the middle of the lineup, that was a different type of team. Played in a bigger ballpark on AstroTurf. Lots of speed. Outstanding defense.
Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith, big part of that team. 1-2, 2 outs. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, behind Todd Redmond. Fly ball to center. Easy play for Pilar. Peralta's retired. The inning is over. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Navarro, Kratz, and Pilar against Garcia when we come back. Blue Jays Swing Into Summer Safety Day is presented by Allstate. It'll take place Wednesday, June 11th, when the Blue Jays take on the Minnesota Twins. Game time is 12:37 p.m. First 25,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays team baseball card set. Call the Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234 or log online at BlueJays.com for the Blue Jays Swing Into Summer Safety Day, Wednesday, June 11th. Lots of kids on hand here and a big crowd again at Rogers Center. Blue Jays having a tough time with the Cardinals starter the last 2 games, and Jaime Garcia throws a first pitch breaking ball for a strike to the Blue Jays DH. Deanna Navarro has grounded out twice to third base. It's got to be great news for the Cardinals, saying Garcia pitched so well here this afternoon. They've been waiting on him for a while. He just came off the disabled list. This is only his 5th start, but he certainly looks like he's regained his strength. Another bouncing ball. 3rd time Navarro has grounded out to Matt Carpenter. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. There's a base hit for Eric Kratz. That's just the 3rd hit for the Blue Jays this afternoon.
All singles by the Blue Jays. They've had an extra base hit at 9 consecutive games. Looking for their first one right here. Here's another cutter from Garcia over the middle of the plate. He hasn't thrown too many of those this afternoon. Over the middle of the plate, and Kratz takes it back through the middle. I'm with you with Garcia. You know, shoulder strength much better. He had that labrum problem, came off the disabled list, and he's their only lefty in their starting rotation. He's an important part of what they're going to need to do.
He looks healthy. You can see the quality of his pitches has been good all afternoon. Kevin Pillar has struck out twice today. He has struck out both of his at-bats. Garcia has 4 strikeouts on the afternoon. Ground ball. 3rd baseman Matt Carpenter makes a nice play. Another good play by Carpenter at 3rd. He's had all sorts of chances this afternoon.
For a right-handed batter, when that ball's coming in on you and you swing and you get jammed, tough to get out of the batter's box. That gives Carpenter a little bit of time to throw out Pillar, who runs well. But watch how this ball comes in on him. He winds him up. Just can't break out of that batter's box quickly. A nice play again by Carpenter.
13 ground ball outs recorded by Jaime Garcia, and he has done a good job of keeping the Blue Jays on the ground. Back to the top of the order, Jose Reyes. Reyes had an infield single his last time up.
That extended Jose's hit streak now to 9 games, that infield hit. And it went to 3rd base.
Two and 0. Tony Cruz is going to take a little trip to the mound right now, and this is getting near the end of the road for Jaime Garcia. The Cardinals have activity in their bullpen. That is Carlos Martinez, the right-hander. Blue Jays have 2 switch hitters at the top of their order, and then 3 right-handers in a row in Bautista, Encarnacion, and Laurie, and Steve Tollison. So probably see a righty first. 2-1. Blue Jays haven't scored against the Cardinals in 15 straight innings. Shelby Miller shut them out on 3 hits yesterday afternoon. They have 3 hits against Garcia. At the top of the zone. Reyes didn't think so. Eric Kratz had a ground ball single into center. He moved to second on the ground out to 3rd. Off the glove, Johnny Peralta behind second. In the dirt, scooped by Craig, and that'll end the inning. Another ground ball out recorded by Jaime Garcia. That might be the end of the day for Garcia. Man, try new pulled pork.
Let's go back to the fourth inning with Matt Carpenter at the dish. He sends a fly ball down the left field line. Melky Cabrera with great determination said, I'm going to make this catch, and he comes sprawling in to foul territory, catches it, hits the turf, and holds on for this afternoon's play of the day. Great play by Melky.
John Jay goes after the first pitch. Kevin Millar ranging back to the warning track. One pitch, one out for Todd Redmond here in the eighth. He's been terrific out of the Blue Jays bullpen this afternoon. Redmond pitching into his fifth inning. He's been very economical in that he's only thrown 51 pitches.
Yeah, that's been the bonus right there. You can give guys a day off and stretch this game out by challenging him with the fastball, which he's done.
Mark Ellis, the second baseman, has gone 1 for 3. Ellis turned 37 years old on Friday. John Gibbons has a birthday today. Gibbons turned 52 today, and Blue Jays haven't done a very good job of giving him a birthday present. He's checking on the status of Chad Jenkins down in the bullpen.
He might be sensing that Redmond lost a little something on the fastball.
Ground ball outside of third foul.
Remember, Todd pitched as you see Chad Jenkins warming up and getting ready a little bit faster now. Todd pitched an inning in yesterday's ball game. Had a couple of punch outs, a fly ball, and an error.
Ground ball, that's a fair ball. Laurie quickly unloads, and Ellis is retired. 2 down.
Canon's Best in Glass sales event. Performance cameras and lenses at the season's best prices. Visit canon.ca/bestinglass.
Peter Borges goes after the first pitch. Bautista with a long run, and he's not going to get there. Ball lands on the warning track in foul territory.
Jose getting his sprints in this afternoon. Just like Melky, very determined to try and make that catch. Just out of his reach.
Redmond will take a little time to help his defenders get back to position, catch their breath. Borges hooks it foul. Peter Borges drove in the first run of the ball game with a sacrifice fly in the second. That scored John Jay from third base. That sparked a 4-run second inning. Two balls, two strikes.
If he can get this final out here in the 8th inning, he'll set a career high 5 innings out of the bullpen.
No swing. Says Jim Reynolds down at first base. Previous high was set on May 10th this season against the Angels right here at Rogers Center. He pitched 4 2/3 and allowed 1 unearned run on 5 hits. That'll do it. A new career high. 5 innings out of the pen. Great job by Todd Redmond. New pitcher will be into the ball game for the Cardinals. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Canada. St. Mary's, Ontario, the weekend of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. It'll be June 21st and 22nd at Rotary Field at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. The instructors include George Bell, Wayne Ward, and Devon White. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Those super camps are great for kids. Come out, get some instruction from some former Blue Jays big leaguers. June 21st and 22nd in St. Mary's. New pitcher into the ball game is Pat Neshek.
He is first on this team in relief appearances. This is his 30th appearance already for the season. Neshek putting up big numbers. He's got that funky delivery. Blue Jays have faced him now 14 times in his career. He used to pitch for the Minnesota Twins.
Neshek has an unusual delivery, as Pat mentioned, and it looks like it's going to be a lot lower delivery than it actually is. When you see him, his arm kind of comes up about 3/4. Looks like he's going to be a submariner, but that's not the case. So Melky Cabrera, he, like so many of his teammates, hitless this afternoon. Blue Jays have 3 scratch singles, and that's it.
This is the funky delivery, if you will, from Pat Neshek. It looks like he's going to go under, and then he comes up about sidearm. Just under 3/4. Darren O'Day. Looks like he's going to be Darren O'Day from the Baltimore Orioles. He's going to drop his knuckles along the dirt of the mound, but then he comes up and throws it sidearm. He gets great movement on them pitches.
Neshek is now 33 years old. He was born in Madison, Wisconsin. And he has bounced around. Signed with the Twins originally. Missed the entire 2009 season. Played for San Diego, Oakland. Spent the last 2 seasons with the Oakland A's, and now he's with the Cardinals. Cabrera hits a fly ball to left. John Jay ranging back. 1 down. Jaime Garcia in line for his 2nd win of the season. 7 strong innings. He shut out Blue Jays on 3 hits. He walked 3, but that didn't create a problem. He would end up with 14 ground ball outs as he kept the Blue Jays on the ground all afternoon.
Haven't been able to get a guy to third base but 1 time this game. Reyes got to third base on a pass ball and an error in the 5th inning.
Jose Bautista has only faced Pat Neshek twice, but he's hit 2 home runs, 2 for 2 with 2 long ones. He's got pretty good velocity for that unorthodox delivery. That last pitch was 93.
93 with movement too. Saw a quick flash of some of his numbers this year. Lefties haven't had much success against him. Righties certainly haven't had a lot of success against him. 071 lefties, 177 righties. Giving up 1 home run.
The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Acer, official partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have been shut out just twice this season. Early in April in Minnesota, Kyle Gibson shut them out. He led the way. Yesterday it was Shelby Miller, a complete game shutout. And today Jaime Garcia, 7 shutout innings. The shutout by Miller was the first time at Rogers Center the Blue Jays have been shut out by an individual since July 30th of 2011. Derek Holland of the Rangers shut him out.
Well, what's impressive is Blue Jays came in here leading the world in everything offensively, runs scored and home runs and everything like that. The Cardinals show you what type of pitchers they have. They've got some guys that can go out there and shut you down.
Bautista walks, first time he's been on base. 1 out walk now, Edwin Encarnacion. The Blue Jays have some big left-handed bats on the bench. We got Francisco and Lind available. And they're ready. First pitch strike to Encarnacion. Edwin walked and he's grounded out twice. Strike 2.
Comeback fastball right there. Came back. Edwin thought that one went around the plate, but it just clipped the outside corner.
That's a ball outside. Encarnacion waves at that outside pitch. He strikes out. 2 down now. Bautista at first for Brett Lawrie. Lawrie is 0 for 3. Blue Jays, we have mentioned, they have just 3 hits this afternoon.
Brett is the last player for the Blue Jays to score a run. That was on Friday in the 8th inning. What's impressive about what we have seen the last 2 nights, the last 2 days by the St. Louis Cardinals, Blue Jays have been putting together rallies and getting on with errors or walks and hits, whatever it is. Really haven't been any high stress innings for the Cardinals when they've been out in the field. That's how well that they have pitched the last 2 days.
Yeah, the pitching has certainly set the tone for the Cardinals. You look at that game yesterday afternoon, it was a 1-0 Cardinal lead going into the 8th, and they blew it open with 4. Friday night, Blue Jays won that game 3-1. But the big inning has been a problem. Today it was the 2nd inning. Cardinals scored 4 runs on 5 hits in the 2nd. Nice play by Alan Craig. He steps on the bag, and that'll do it. Blue Jays are done in the 8th. We'll go to the 9th. The Cardinals have a 5-0 lead. Brett Cecil will come out of the bullpen after a fine performance by Todd Redmond. Of relief pitching here this afternoon. He allowed just 4 hits, didn't walk about it, and struck out 3. It's exactly what John Gibbons needed from Redmond. Drew Hutchison lasted just 3 innings, so Redmond comes out and gives the bullpen a break. He gives them 5 strong innings, and now Brett Cecil will be into the ballgame. Todd Redmond certainly huge for the Blue Jays here today.
That's why he's on the team. Not a lot of hard hit balls off of Redmond this afternoon. Now Brett Cecil will take over with 2 of the 3 scheduled batters being left-handers. There are Brett Cecil's numbers this year in 27 games. Cecil also ranks first in the American League with those 14 holds.
Number 9 hitter Tony Cruz had a RBI double in that 2nd inning. Cruz has caught all 3 games of this series. Yadier Molina has been given 2 of the games off. as he's been the DH. He also was completely out of the game yesterday afternoon. Who's tried to check and went around. It's 1-1. Yadier Molina was the DH this afternoon. He walked and singled, 1 for 3 at the plate. Cut on and miss. Kratz will throw to first to complete the strikeout. 1 down. Drive of the Game is brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Matt Carpenter came into this series a very hot hitter, and the Blue Jays had handled him 0 for 8 before this. The drive of the game as he sends the ball over center field for his second home run of the season. Matt Carpenter will pick up this afternoon's drive of the game.
Goes after that first pitch and fouls it off his leg. Carpenter is a very patient hitter, but today he recognized the Blue Jays were going to come after him early in the at-bats, and he's been swinging on first pitches.
Well, he's seeing the ball right now. Over the last month or so, he's had the second highest batting average in the National League.
Found that ball off his left kneecap, it looks like. We mentioned coming into this game, Carpenter hit .383 over his last 20 games. Waves at that breaking ball. Brett Cecil does a great job of getting swings and misses. They don't pick up the spin on that breaking ball. He'll get a lot of chase swings.
It's a sharp curveball. Very, very sharp, and he's got a good slider too. Got to respect his fastball. He's got 3 pitches he can get you out with. Not afraid to throw the breaking ball when he's behind in the count. Tough on lefties.
.95 with the fastball upstairs, but Carpenter wouldn't chase. Cecil worked a third of an inning on Friday night. Came in the ballgame and walked Matt Carpenter, then got Oscar Taveras to fly out to left. That's a pretty good pitch. Don't care if he swung at it or not. Looked like it was a strike.
You're seeing the ball when you're able to lay off of that pitch.
Took a tough pitch and then singles into right. Carpenter's second hit of the afternoon.
Threw a good one. Breaking ball that was taken just off the plate, and now this one up and over. And it certainly helped Carpenter to see the previous pitch, how it breaks and how hard it is.
That really wasn't that bad a breaking ball, but he stayed on it. You're right. He saw the nasty curveball on the previous pitch and was able to square that last one up. Randall Grichuk hit his first big league home run yesterday in the 5th inning off of Mark Burley, pinch hitting for Oscar Taveras. Grichuk was acquired by the Cardinals along with Peter Borges from the Angels in exchange for David Freese, the third baseman. Ball on the strike. Grichuk's just 22 years old. Hits it hard. One hopper to Reyes. Double play. 6-4-3 double play. That'll end the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Collison, Navarro, and Kratz, the scheduled hitters. Blue Jays are down by 5. And live on your smartphone. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com/sports to get started. Crowd having a good time here at Rogers Center. Big crowd on hand. 45,726. Trevor Rosenthal, the closer, obviously coming out of the bullpen in a non-save situation, but it's his first appearance of the series.
Yeah, and he hasn't pitched for 4 days. They've got an off day tomorrow, so Mike Matheny wants to get his closer into the series somehow. 16 for 19 in saves this year. Righties 222, lefties 207. He's got a great fastball. Comes right after you. Those 16 saves tied for 5th in the National League.
Brando Grichuk takes over in right field for Oscar Taveras. He pinched hit for Taveras and grounded into a double play. Anthony Gose is pinch hitting for Steve Tallison to start the bottom of the ninth. One and one.
The thing with Rosenthal, he's going to challenge you again with that fastball, and he knows how to finish batters off.
Bouncing ball. Ellis ranging over near first and makes the play. 1 out.
His strike percentage is the 6th best in baseball, meaning he'll challenge you, he'll use that fastball. And then once he gets to 2 strikes, batters are hitting under 100 against him, so he knows how to finish him off with that good heater.
Keanu Navarro has hit 3 ground balls to the third baseman, Matt Carpenter. He grounded out 5-3 in his 3 previous at-bats, batting as a left-handed hitter this time. Rosenthal jumps ahead 0-2. Navarro has 2 hits in 3 at-bats against Rosenthal, playing in the National League last year. .97, but outside. is driven into left center. Long run for Peter Borges, and he can cover some ground. Made it look easy. Blue Jays are down to their final out.
When it left the bat, it looked like he had a shot, but it hung up in the air here. And with his great speed, you can see he's shading Navarro the other way to begin with. And then slows down to haul it in left center field. He's a good outfielder.
Adam Lind coming off the bench to bat for Eric Kratz. He's late on that fastball. Another good fastball at 97.
97 and upstairs. They've got some weapons coming out of that bullpen with Neshek and Mott, Rosenthal, Choate, Martinez. Got some good arms.
It's a good team. Bouncing ball. Ellis was deep at second. Unloads not in time. It's an infield hit for Adam Lind. Mark Ellis was deep at second base, and that ball was chopped right out in front of home plate. So Lind's aboard with a pinch hit infield single.
One of the times where you get burned by playing so deep, you can see Ellis at the top of your screen. He's got a long way to go. And by that time, he makes a good play, does everything he can, but Adam Lind gets out of that box, smelling base hit, and he gets it, infield single.
Lind's aboard with 2 outs. Juan Francisco will come off the bench and bat for Kevin Pillar. The Blue Jays have 4 singles this afternoon. They had 3 hits yesterday. 1 double, but it was an infield double. They haven't hit the ball at all for 2 days.
Told you that they have 1 extra base hit in 9 consecutive games. In 46 out of their last 47 games, they've had at least 1 extra base hit. But today, nada.
Strike 2. It's 0-2.
His velocity, Trevor Rosenthal, he averages 96 miles an hour with that heater, which is 9th in Major League Baseball. That Martinez kid they have out there is 2nd in Major League Baseball, averaging almost 97 miles per hour with his heater. The best out of the bullpen, Kelvin Herrera for the Kansas City Royals. He's got the best fastball velocity in baseball. Turn it up a notch when you face these guys.
That'll do it. Blue Jays have been shut out 2 consecutive ball games. 7 hits in the last 2 games against the Cardinals, and they haven't scored in 18 innings. The Cardinals win the series 2-1. We thank you for watching. Still lots more to come. We'll turn things over to Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. We'll see you tomorrow night.